Donald Trump wins this election. However you feel about that election, it's polarizing. I grew up in a household where you didn't talk about politics.
Yeah.
You didn't discuss religion with people because like those things were they were taboo. I'm curious your perspective about having political views and what that means in the realm of marketing and trying to brand yourself to attract people to come to you. Do you talk about politics? Are you allowed to talk about religion? Like, break that down for me.
Yeah, so I struggle with this. It's definitely a struggle for me. You know, I like to retain Switzerland on this topic because here's why. First of all, I didn't grow up with politics either. Like, to be honest with you, I don't know that up until like 10, 12 years ago, I really even knew the difference between a Democrat and a Republican.
Yeah.
I just have fundamental beliefs. And they're very similar. Like my friends, I have best friends who we are not on the same political, we're not aligned, but we have the exact same fundamentals. We want our children to have the exact same things. We want to live in a country that has the exact same type of vision. The only difference is who we surround ourselves with, where we're getting our information from, and what we perceive a certain situation to be, how bad or good we perceive that situation to be, or that person to be, or, the environment that we're in, sort of, and what will come out of that person running our country, right?
Sure.
And fundamentally, even if you and I are opposite, I guarantee you we want the exact same things for our children.
Yeah.
Let's say you and I are on opposite. That's fine. We don't even have to cover who. I guarantee you, me, and every other person in our age range, in our demographic, with a young family like ours, all we want is a safe place for our children. We want certain things for our country. We want the freedom to do certain things. We want to have success. We want our money to go a long way. But let me tell you something. As an immigrant, I have it on a different scale. Like, I love this country more than I bet most people that were born here, because I know what it's like to have nothing. I know what my parents ran from. They ran. They cried hysterically. I remember the airplane ride from Russia. They cried hysterically just to get here. They knew nothing about America because they lived in a communist country that didn't even allow magazines to tell them what kind of place they're going to. They just knew that it can't be any worse than where they are.
Yeah.
So I love this country so much. And I hope that whoever I vote for or whatever I align with just retains that, because I love this country so much. I want my children to be a part of the American dream, because I really am like 150% the product of the American dream,
But is it right for people to, let's bring it this way, inside this cancel culture, I feel like a lot of people are held hostage from saying what they actually think, where they have to look for the things that we all agree on, and they aren't allowed to talk about the ones that they know
don't.
Someone else might think differently about this.
Yeah.
Therefore, I can't talk about it because I'm a realtor and I don't want to drive anyone away who could be a potential customer down the road because they might not like my religion. They may not like my politics, and I don't want that to hurt the business. Is that right? That's where we're at?
Is that right? It's absolutely not right. I wish we were in that stage of life. Like, I really do. It makes me sick, to be honest with you. I really wish people would like come back together. But I have to support my family, and me and my husband have to support our family. So I'm going to do everything in my power to demonstrate that I'm a good person. I want really good things for you and your family.
Yeah.
And I really hope that I don't get canceled. Now, do I sometimes vocalize politically where I stand, or, what I think about the world, what I think about all the conflicts in the world? Sometimes, but I try not to as much as I can, because I don't want that to hurt my family. I don't want that to hurt my business.
Yeah. And that's the fear that I think so many business owners live in, of, I certainly feel a certain way about it, but I'm not really allowed to talk about that. That's probably off limits. Hey, is this being recorded? Okay, I won't touch on this subject right there. Like it or not, that's the way it is. Now, I offer a bit of different perspective on whether or not you should talk religion, whether or not you should talk politics. It is just my own opinion. But I think about levels of market share. And for the average business owner, they're dealing with less than 1% market share, regardless of what they're selling
Sure.
and what they're in.
Sure.
You're at less
Yeah.
than 1%. I've got a couple of businesses that are of some size, but even at the size that they are the freckle on the ass of the industry where
Sure.
it's so tiny. So I think about it from the perspective of if I came out politically and I took a side and told people what I actually thought, raw, unfiltered, and just gave it to them, I know two things are true. Number one, I'm going to polarize half of the voting community.
Yep.
And I'm going to come out and be perfectly aligned with the other half
Right.
of the people who are out there.
Right.
Let's just say it's 80 million on both
Yeah.
sides, voting age people. Is there a higher chance then that I can increase my percentage of market share by coming out and being real and authentic and telling people exactly what I think about politics, whether I'm for Biden, whether I'm for Trump,
Yeah.
what my religion is, and letting them see the real me raw and the stuff I'm not supposed to talk about? Or is there a higher chance that my current customers stop working with me because they're like, wait, you're a Biden supporter? You're a Trump supporter? Like, I don't want to do business with you anymore. I have this theory that I've been playing with that, and I've seen it play out. I've got this theory that there's actually more to gain by talking about the things that are considered taboo because you realign yourself so close and parallel with 50% of the electorate that you probably stand more to gain. If you're at 1% and now you have access to 50%, like, oh my God, Steve thinks just like I do.
Yeah.
It's remarkable to me the business owners I've seen come out, and it's more on the Trump side. It's just more polarizing.
Okay.
Even though the elections happened
Yeah.
at this point,
Yeah.
he won by a decent majority.
Yeah.
They're not the silent majority that they thought they were, or silent minority.
Yes,
It's like
yeah,
it's actually a
yeah.
majority of people that ended up voting that way. But the business owners that came out for Trump, and I've seen how it hasn't affected their business. Now it's in some niche businesses, and I think that it works out well for them. But I find it interesting when I came out politically and I told people what I thought a couple weeks before the election. The number of random DMs that I got or different types of comments on TikTok and YouTube from people that are like, hey, I know where you stand now on this. And the number of DMs, people that are like, hey, I'm dark MAGA too. You know, like, hey, I'm also voting for Trump
Yeah.
too. Hey, black business owners for Trump. You know, when you start to see that and you realize, okay, by coming out and saying what I wasn't supposed to say, I've actually aligned myself with people that were not on my radar. And
Yeah.
maybe I never ended up doing business with them. It wasn't really about that. But I learned and saw, like, wait a minute. There might be something to this. Maybe it's not as alienating as I thought it was. Your thoughts on that? As I break that down in my own experience, what do you think about
So
that?
David and I talk about this probably too much because it's one of those topics that everyone is just so fascinated by. So he is with you. He says, why can't we share who we are and what we believe, and the people that like our people are going to gravitate towards us? And my thing to him is, I don't know that I want to alienate people that I love and that I respect who have they have fears. Just like, again, they have fears for our country. So whatever side they're on, they're fearing something. Like you can tell there's hatred on both sides. Like, people think that on each side, like, how could you sell out? How could you vote for that person?
Yeah.
Don't you see what's happening? So I don't like to negate that those people are feeling real feelings. Like, they're really scared. They're really insecure about what's happening on both sides. So I can definitely have a conversation, and it always gets brought up. It always somehow gets brought up, but I don't think I want it to be like online as a present, because I don't want people to take something, misconstrue it, and then write us off because of something we write online. Let's have a real conversation about it.
Yeah.
And then I think and that's when we will see fundamentally if you're a good person, we're probably aligned on many things except our interpretation of what is a
It's so
good
true.
leader.
I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've sat down with people who think so different from me religiously and politically and realize we have so much more in common
Absolutely.
than we have that separates us. But very polarizing issues to begin with. Your boy from Chicago, Michael Jordan, famously said that Republicans buy sneakers too. That's why he's not coming out and using his platform for politics.
I do remember that. Yeah,
You know?
he said, and exactly. So, especially, why would he want to alienate 50% of his
Yeah.
audience?
And I think it's different for Michael Jordan, though, because it goes back to my 1% comparison. If you already have a decent amount of market share, let's go back and play that probability game. Where do you stand to gain and where do you stand to lose? And what's the likelihood that Michael Jordan would lose customers because he already had a decent amount of market share?
Very
you
low.
know?
And I do think after this election, I do think people are coming together a little bit more.
Yeah.
Especially just seeing the numbers. I think Trump supporters are getting less scared to come out as Trump supporters.
It's cool to come out now. It wasn't cool when I came out. Okay, I just want people to know that.
Steve came out
Wasn't cool
first.
when I came out. But you've seen Mike Lindell, the My Pillow guy.
No.
You know about him?
No.
He runs so many commercials for these really shitty pillows. I actually bought a few because his marketing is really good. But he predominantly is posting his videos. He buys ad space on like Fox News and Newsmax, the places that are known to be very, very Republican heavy. He also got sued along with Trump after the last election because he was out with his platform talking about how the voting machines were messed up and how the election was stolen and all that. I didn't get into the crazy stuff on that. I wouldn't go that far with it. But he has built a sizable business based off of first his technology of making this new fiber for a pillow. But then he chose a side and then marketed directly to the side that he chose as, hey, the reason you buy my pillows, the ones that I made, and you don't just go to Walmart and get them, is because you're Republican and I'm a Republican and you want to buy yours from me. And honestly, he has a lot of shitty products on his site that he sells now, but the marketing works because he came out.
Sure.
You know?
I wouldn't want to have that divide in real estate. I would not. If I was just an influencer who was selling, I don't know, the mom life, sure.
Yeah.
I'll let you know what my political stance is. As a realtor, though, I don't think I'm a better as a teammate to my husband realtor. I don't think we're a better team for Republicans. I don't think we're a better team for Democrats.
Yeah.
I think we can talk about it, and if you really want to know where we stand, and if that is how you're going to make your decision, that's fine. And that's fair if you really feel, but I don't think we're going to sell or buy you a home any better whether we're Democrats or Republicans.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
Yeah.
It makes no sense except that people are like, oh, but they're my people.
So the my people thing.
You know?
I mean,
that's and I think that you could do it with religion. Politics is the easy one right now because we're in this political season and the world's in a crazy spot to do it.